Hello, everyone. What is going on? My name is Timpedia, and welcome back finally to the TNT
Man, you
podcast.
fucked that up.
How'd I fuck it
That's
up?
fine. Welcome to
I
the
can't help but laugh
TNT.
because it's pathetic how long it's been since the last one.
It's pretty
It's been-
pathetic, and I blame
Friedman.
It's mostly
Freeman's-
my fault.
It's all
mostly my
Freeman.
fault.
ambitions to strive and do better in life. Man, fuck that, dude.
Yeah, what
Get
the
a
hell?
big
what the hell is
promotion
wrong
or
with you?
Could've
fucking
been here.
record the TNT podcast.
Yeah,
Watching Dragon Ball T, but instead I'm out here doing shit.
yeah, out here doing life. Man,
Fuck that noise.
fuck.
Anyway.
you, man.
As always, I'm Timpedia, one of your hosts, and on my right,
It's Friedman, also known as
Traitor.
Andrew, but mostly known as Friedman, but
Traitor.
also
My
known as
left.
Traitor.
Just Tyler, the best, the greatest.
and as always, we don't have a topic because we have too much dumb shit to cover from the last few weeks that we missed. So we're just gonna get all the mostly anime news out of the way.
That's right, anime is this week's topic.
Because hilariously enough, we only have one meme topic to talk about today. There's been magic stuff, but nothing really earth-shattering since the
nothing
release of
worth
Guilds of
talking about.
Ravnica.
Even just Tyler has watched a lot of anime.
Yes.
Amazingly,
It's working.
I will say, I'm not even gonna. Since now apparently I'm forced to do the fucking time cards again because people don't want to listen to the whole podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna add a time card for this. But Freeman, I don't know if you saw on the Magic subreddit, a fairly prominent player. I'm not gonna say any names, but apparently was just let go from one of the big content creation sites and his team because of allegations of inappropriate
sexual
contact
misconduct?
with women while drunk at parties after Magic tournaments and events.
Ouch.
Man, it just doesn't stop, does it?
It sure fucking doesn't.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't look into this too much because I wasn't sure who this person was.
I actually started watching. So it's a site called Star City Games. They put out Commander Versus, which is a series I love watching. And they also have. I've started watching their Versus Live series because work's been so slow lately. Where they, it's mostly standard right now. Them testing out decks, and it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, one of their guys who was in videos and worked for them got Lego.
Get destroyed. What was said? You know what
Yeah.
was said? What was done?
But yeah, other than that, really nothing interesting on fucking Magic. So we'll just skip that and I guess talk about the shitty other
Wait,
thing.
before we do, there's only one Magic thing I thought was interesting this
Oh.
week. Just because Magic Arena is gaining popularity, one of the big things people have figured out is in order to make it so that you don't have to draft with 8 people like you do in Magic the Gathering Online, what you do is you draft against bots. Wizards is having a hard time coming up with a way to make bots draft in a seemingly random but also consistent style. As a result, bots have a tendency to pick the first guild they open and then only draft cards in those colors. So as a result, if a bot gets Boros, good luck. You can't draft that color now.
Get wrecked.
So they're
Whoops.
working on trying to figure out how to fix the bots. Everyone's like, yeah, draft is really wonky right now. You pretty much have to you're forced to stay in the colors that you start with because there's not going to be anything else later
Hey,
on.
did you open a
No,
rare
there's-
in fucking Selesnya? Better enjoy playing Selesnya, bitch.
There's no such thing as pivots. There's no such thing as bots drafting 3 to 5 colors. It's everyone drafts 2 color.
To be perfectly honest, I don't see how they fix a problem like that. That's some serious machine learning level crap.
It's actually a big problem. It makes draft kind of shitty.
Some Skynet
Don't they-
shit's gonna have
Don't
to
they
happen.
not have you can't do drafts against other people, right? Isn't it only
So
against bots?
So
or
you
no?
you play against other people, but you draft with 8 bots, which is annoying because you
So
play against
stupid.
people who are in other pods. So it kind of sucks. Like someone can end up being in a high-powered pod just because the rares they opened,
That's
whereas
one of the
someone
things
else
that
is
always.
in
No,
keep-
go ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
So someone could be in a low-powered pod where everyone ends up mostly drafting the uncommons because they make a cohesive deck, but no one really has any of these big bombs because the
Yeah.
pod happened to just open shitty cards. And you up against that guy who opened 3 planeswalkers.
I was gonna
Good
say
luck.
that's kind of one of the things that's a little disappointing to me about I understand the reason, but cube draft and stuff like that, it seems kind of to defeat the purpose of draft when you do it against people who have built decks from all over. There's no real strategizing in terms of, oh, I see that this color's going, so it'll matter in games later. It's no, you pick your stuff and then you walk away and draft and play against other people.
I mean, with Cube, it's how do I put it? It's less strategically. It's less about strategically knowing what people are going to have when you get to games, but it matters more in the deck building phase, especially if you see certain things make a table, and you're like, okay, well, no one's really going the control route.
You're totally right, but I mean that's I only know that because that's the only limited I watch at all. Is sometimes like a famous like LSV will do vintage cube draft or something for Channel Fireball, and I'll watch it. But like I think there's also leagues that do it the same way. I'm pretty sure, right? I don't know. I don't know how Magic Online works.
I don't know how that.
I haven't used Magic Online. Let's talk about fucking Overdank's Halloween bullshit. That's lame.
Oh right.
Wow, why
yeah.
you gotta call it bullshit though?
Well, because that's what the community's calling it, even though.
Oh, is it really?
Well, everyone is. So this is
I
kind of
just said it.
It
kind
is.
of a segue into the mini topic. But anyway, just to deliver the after news. In case any of you play Overwatch and have been living under a rock, the Halloween event is back this year. There's very little different. I think like Brigida being enabled in Junkenstein's Revenge is like the only major content update.
My grill.
There's new skins, new voice lines, new sprays, all the usual crap.
Yada yada.
The numbers are lower than previous years, obviously, because characters aren't really getting duplicate Halloween skins. Some are. People have assessed that there's always going to be one like kind of Halloween themed skin. There's always going to be one like, I guess, more
dope
serious
skin.
Well, like the dope skin, and then like the joke Halloween skin. But the point is, that's kind of where we are right now. It's not bad. This is consistent updates. Jeff has gone on record saying that they're not pumping up these seasonal events because they do want to focus on like maps and characters and balance and whatnot. In that same vein, they are doing a minor rework on Roadhog that is requiring art asset changes. That's going to hit PCR next week. I bet it's just like a rate of fire change. But anyway, the real reason everyone's up in arms because now the second festival in a row where we've kind of gotten this feel that hey, there's nothing new to do. You're just here to play Overwatch. Which is weird because I was watching this YouTube video. I don't remember who the guy was. I fucking hated the video. I quit 2 minutes in. But he's talking about how unless Overwatch gives him a reason to play that isn't just having fun, he's not going to play this game.
Wow.
And I'm like, bro, do you understand what a video game is? Like,
you're a piece of shit.
Like, the kind of guy who's like, I play games because it's a lifestyle. I'm like, nah, dude, play it to have some fun. And that's kind of where we're getting right now. People don't want to play games just for fun anymore. Like I remember playing Counter-Strike in high school. I would just play like the same maps over and over again to get good because I had fun on them. You can't do that anymore. Everything needs like a progression system. There's got to be something new, flashy, then in the tunnel.
It's also because everybody wants to be the next big streamer and everything. Who like, I want to be Ninja and make $1 million playing Fortnite.
Playing Fortnite.
Like there's some people who stream games every day and are like, I am having fun with this one game, and then there's people who are like, I'm gonna bandwagon the shit out of it and just pretend to have fun so that hopefully viewers will start watching me and I'll earn money.
Yeah, no, that shit's kind of lame.
It's part of the reason I honestly have never wanted to like chase games and things like that. Like if I play a new game when it comes out, it's because I was interested in playing the game and having fun, not because I'm chasing views. Like that's always been a big thing for me. Is it's shitty for people to just chase what's. That's part of why all these like. Remember when Minecraft was the big thing, and everyone was like, "We gotta do Minecraft videos because that's how we get popular. We act goofy in Minecraft."
Yeah.
Can I say something about Minecraft real quick?
Yes.
No,
I was that one nerd that when Minecraft was big, I was super obsessed with the videos. People making these giant ass quarries, which are just like 64 by 64 holes in the ground, and I was like, this is cool, I'm totally gonna do this, until I realized how time consuming and a waste of life it is to try and do a project like that. And I spent like 6 hours making a hole in the ground while watching a show.
Well, I went through the Minecraft progression because I first started out playing the free version, and then later that day I bought the full one because way back when this guy I was friends with, we got into it together, and we went through the progression of starting in the world. Let's start mining stuff. Let's start digging. Let's start building. It's boring to do all this mining all day. Let's just cheat in our resources. Now we already don't care. And then we moved on and played Terraria, which was a lot more fun.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the thing with those kind of things. Like, you have to be like super dedicated, and I don't know, that's something that no one wants to watch. I have watched my one friend do stuff like that, and it's like the most mind-numbing thing I've ever seen.
Like, there's the cool videos of like, I built the Enterprise, or I built a whole city, and look at this like one picture of it, or I built
how to do like a
calculator.
multi-layered like light switch. Like cool videos like that are interesting. You saw someone like really dedicated, and someone's like, "Here's my house. Here's where I keep my my chests, they're up on the wall. Like stuff like that gets
Well,
annoying.
No, I was gonna say you see the people who are like, I built a working calculator, I built a castle, I built this cool thing, and you see a picture or you watch a short video, and then you never give a shit about them ever again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like it's like, yeah, that was a cool thing, and you're done. Like I am not devoting brain space to you anymore.
Oh, but yeah.
And
I
I'm
mean,
sure there are
going,
people who are like, I want to see those projects, but like, who's the person? It just seems insane to me that you want to like spend a week building a thing in Minecraft for that.
yo, man, it's a hobby, man. Why do
I guess,
people
I guess,
build train sets? Huh?
because those are cool.
Those are actually really fun.
Yeah. See, but see what you guys think is fun, other people think is boring.
No,
Don't knock it,
look,
man.
I
Don't
I
knock
can
it.
totally understand how it might be fun, but I don't understand the people who think that's the path to being like popular. I don't want to say, but
Oh, trust me, I think most of them realize that they're dorks.
well, now they do. But I think back when Minecraft was the big thing, they didn't.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're in the Fortnite stage of and now we're honestly though, from the sound of it, I know this is pretty recent, but it sounds like we're kind of some attention is going to Black Ops now. I feel like the Blops
Oh, everyone.
Battle Royale
So
mode.
I say everyone's talking about Black Ops, but clearly the people I talk to aren't like the Fortnite demographic. But that said,
Yeah.
everyone's really riding the Black Ops train right now.
Mhm.
I don't blame
feel like
them.
this is PUBG's death knell because one of the best friend podcasts they last week one of them started playing the Black Ops mode, and he's like, yeah, this is like PUBG but polished and good. So
It does look like PUBG but polished. I'll be the first to say it.
I could easily see a world where this edges out PUBG completely. Like PUBG just kind of slowly fades away, and
I mean, I'll tell you, I've stopped playing PUBG.
yeah, I looked at your Steam account earlier, and I saw 195 PUBG hours.
Yep, that is true, and that's mostly all from last year. Like I barely played this year. I probably played like 10 and 20 hours worth this year. That's it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm also kind of just done with the whole battle royale thing. I think it's oversaturated the market at this point.
Oh, sure. I don't. I can kind of understand the appeal, but I don't understand the people who are like, I want to watch this or play this all day.
Yeah.
That just seems nuts.
Oh, can I bring us back to Overwatch for 2 seconds? Because we got hot
Yes.
news coming in right now.
Oh.
PTR update just went live. We have 3 confirmed buffs. So the first one is Mercy. Her ult is now 15% faster to charge. They undid her last healing nerf. They brought her down from 60 heal per second to 50. It's back up to 60 again.
Good.
So she has
That
she
makes
has a
sense.
net buff after the last 2 patches.
Yeah, well, I mean,
so
wasn't she
Metra's-
kind of in the dumpster? Like
she
you
is.
were
She
saying
needed something
recently.
to help her. I'm not sure if the ult boost is going to be controversial or not. The healing is good enough. That's enough to make her like on par with Anna's healing for a good Anna. Question is Anna now out of the meta again? But
Oh my
Symmetra,
god.
Symmetra's beam now charges
No.
20% faster, which is okay. She's kind of shit lately. But the last one is Roadhog's changes. So the time between when you actually hit someone with your hook and pull them into has been cut by almost half.
Whoa.
So you yank them fast. They reduced the randomization of all of his shotgun pellets, so it's 50% less random. And they also increased the speed at which his projectiles move. So this is interesting. In a pure numbers game, this is a buff. The question is how good it's going to play.
Why does that require new art assets?
Because now that so it has to do with his pull. So this happened in the past. His right click used to fire really slow, which was his long range shotgun. And when they sped it up, it started looking really funny when you played the old animations very fast. So now they have the problem that playing his animations faster looks weird. And I'm willing to bet it has something to do with the chain pull animation. It probably looked really funny when you doubled the speed and they need to alter the way it looked. So I'm willing to bet that was the art asset change for that.
Makes sense.
All right, should we move on?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, this is my story. So I actually there was actually news on this story just today, which is hilarious. That I just saw like while eating dinner. So I mentioned it a while ago, but a small fan studio, I guess you could call it. I don't know if they're an official studio or not. Called a group called Poem Studios announced that they were doing a remake, basically, of KOTOR 1.
Oh,
With all new, like, built from the ground up, but apparently a mod on top of the game, even though the assets were, like, completely redone and they were going to redo systems and everything. It seemed like they were almost building a remake of the game, and that's how they kind of advertised it. But about a week ago, I think is when I added it to the list, they actually finally got a cease and desist from Lucas.
damn.
Saying you cannot go forward with this remake, destroy all your code and all that stuff, and basically you guys are done. And it really kind of sucked because I actually had tweeted at them very early on, like, hey, I would wish I could do like voice acting or something for this in case you needed new voice assets, because I fucking obviously
it's your
fucking...
fault.
No,
Lucas,
it's not.
Lucas is he follows your feed and he saw you up to no good and said,
No.
"Damn, I gotta shut this shit down. Can't let our big fan Timpedia have any fan in crafting the shitty media empire we want."
Oh yeah, obviously.
God damn it.
No, but
I hate that
yeah.
shit so much.
No, I mean, it sucks, but it makes sense. I mean, this is why, like, I think I've said this before from the Best Friend guys again, but it's like, don't announce your fan project until it's done and ready to be dumped on the internet, or you'll get shut down. It's that simple.
True.
I mean, it sucks. It sucks because it sounded like a really cool project. The update from today was actually, they wrote a counter letter saying, hey, we're complying, but we actually think that this was a mod project, not a rebuild, because apparently it required a purchased copy of the game somehow. I don't understand what kind of... I guess it's like a Skyrim complete rebuild from you see the supercomputers that have been so modded that it's fucking like i20 running Skyrim and it looks like a fucking different game and it's gorgeous. So
I'm wondering if that's enough of a loophole to get around stuff like this.
I mean, that's what that's why there's all these weird mods of licensed properties for other things. Like there's other properties that people have modded into KOTOR and things like that, like custom armor sets and stuff. So I don't know if they'll get a response. It sounds like, I think from the article it said that they hadn't, and I don't think the letter was just today. Let me actually look at them on Twitter.
Listeners, leave your thoughts in the comments. We want to know what you think. If it requires a already purchased copy of the game, should it be considered mod content and make that legal? I want to know your opinion so we can read it next week. Sound like the most canned thing I've ever said on this podcast.
I was gonna say, look at you, man.
Trying to get the
pushing for a
engaged.
user interaction. I like it.
So apparently their Twitter doesn't have any kind of other letter, but I don't know where the article is. Huh. Okay, so they've announced that they're actually going to work on a new game called The Missing. It doesn't look like it uses any kind of assets whatsoever. But yeah, their Twitter still has from October 11th. It still has the letter from Lucasfilm saying, "Hey, stop work." So I don't know. I kind of stopped following it because I just assume it's going to be dead. I don't see Lucas ever running this fucking back if they release the letter.
Probably not.
So it sucks. It was a really cool product.
Worked on it and then just released it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to... this is also the kind of thing, they've been working on it for over a year, I think, was back when I found out about it. So they've been working on it a long time. But I don't want to talk about it too much because the shutdown of it gave me an idea for a video series I'd love to do. Or a video I'd love to do. A special edited video. So I'm going to try to get working on that once I'm not doing overtime for the rest of my life. But yeah. So anyway, that's kind of a sucky bit of news, but let's move on to other sucky news that bothers Friedman more than...
Perfect transition, because you were talking about these game developers just shut down fan content, and the second you said, I'm like, oh, we must be talking about Nintendo here.
Yep.
Right, fucking Nintendo.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
Kings of release it when it's done or you're dead.
All right, so the apocalypse is upon us. They've convinced me. I'm still salty about it.
No,
but they've done enough to make me think that Pokemon Let's Go and Play This Game might actually be worth getting.
Man,
Friedman, right.
What a narc.
So, they announced 3 things that make me less salty about this game. The first
Is it not out yet?
No, it comes out in November. So
Oh,
the first thing
somehow I
is
thought it
you
was
can
out.
re-challenge any trainer. So yes, you can still grind out with Pokemon battles, which means
Thank
I got what I
fucking
asked for.
God.
Number 2, if you catch duplicates of Pokemon, so the same way it is in Go, where you catch like 150 Rattata and feed them to your one really good one. In this game, if you catch, I don't know what the number is. The point is you can trade in Professor Oak for what amounts to rare candies. So there's some value in catching literally every Pokemon in the game. But here's the part that made the competitive Pokemon battler in me very excited. They announced the concept of master trainers. So scattered around the world, there are 150 trainers. Or
Of course, it's
150.
150.
It's less. They may not do all the unevolved. It might just be one for each family. But point is, each trainer specializes in a single family of Pokemon, and you must challenge them in a one-on-one Pokemon battle. Both of you using the same Pokemon. But each of them is they're tuned to be the harder AI. They have moves that you wouldn't expect that Pokemon to have that are very set up to just defeat themselves in battle. So it's gonna be an interesting challenge to like raise a Venusaur that's explicitly made to like
dear
fight
God.
another Venusaur. So I think that's a really cool challenge. I'm actually really excited for that because it means you have an incentive to literally raise one Pokemon of every family to be like strong enough to fight these master trainers. And as part of a joke, they put in the trailer, they had the Metapod versus Metapod as like the last joke battle at the end where they're both just using Harden at each other. But it actually looks pretty fun. I've settled on the fact that I'm going to begrudgingly purchase this game. I'm not happy with what they've done, but they've done enough to make this like a good enough 3D Red and Blue remake.
I'm not happy about it, but I guess I'll buy the video game.
Let's be real.
Man, no.
I-
This is how you got every
Yo,
time.
I'm aware of it.
Every time.
But let me just say this. I'm still playing through Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon because I'm just itching for a Pokemon game to play. And these games are ass. Like, Ultra Sun sucks. This is a bad game.
Damn.
And I just want
Nintendo,
a good Pokemon to play.
Give me back my friend, you asshole.
I'm about to go play Alpha Sapphire again because I need a good Pokemon game to play.
I'm gonna shake
Jeez.
you. I'm gonna shake some sense into you.
God.
This is too much for me. Too much for my heart to bear.
Look, I'm not
fed up
happy
with
with
this
the decisions
world.
I've
I'm
made.
fed up with this world. Fuck, man. You can't.
Sorry.
I can't let him.
Freeman, you're supposed
Dude,
to hold
in
out for the next one.
1998, I said I was going to catch them all.
Fuck you
And apparently
to
I meant
death.
it.
You know that marketing scheme.
It worked so fucking good.
It worked so well.
Fuck you to hell. That
Well,
and
fuck
yeah,
you.
that was for the
Some Pokemon,
150.
we must buy them all.
Oh my.
No. This is how. Nope. Not saying it. I'll say it
No,
after
say
the
it.
podcast.
Do it.
No.
All right, fine.
It's tasteless. Our Japanese player listeners might think less of me.
Yeah, because we have so many Japanese listeners to the podcast.
You don't even know. You don't know, man.
Dude,
I
you have
wonder
no
if I
idea what
could-
kind of audience I'm pulling in with the weeb shit every week.
Yeah, but you don't know if maybe I can. I wonder if I could find a way.
Find a way to pull
well,
stats.
There's plenty of stats on YouTube. Let's see if I can find something while we're talking.
What our Japanese user base is.
Yeah, let's see if there's there's viewer stats.
Nah,
Let's
forget it. I'm
see.
gonna say it. The brainwashing is
Oh my
totally
God.
payback for the bomb. Totally.
Oh, analytics, perfect.
I'm just
Oh,
picturing,
analytics.
I'm just picturing
Thanks for looking at that.
the Bart Simpson hitting Homer with the
Yes.
chair beam, where one way it was Pearl Harbor, the other way it was 2 nukes. Then it's backing him with anime.
Anime and Netflix adaptation. It's the greatest.
I want to move on to Netflix adaptations.
Hold on. This is actually interesting.
Oh.
I'm looking at my data from Japan.
Oh,
Wow, where the fuck? Let's see. What number is it? Where's Japan is
no.
0.1% of my watch time.
Cool.
Interesting.
Wow. 69 views from Japan in the last
Someone out
month.
there.
In the last month.
To all
Yeah.
69 of you, thank you.
If there's
No.
Sorry, guys.
No. That's not the podcast. That's my entire channel.
Yes, I know, and if but one of you is listening, thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
And
now
I
we can
didn't
move
mean
on.
anything terrible about the whole bomb.
Yes,
thing.
you did. Don't.
That wasn't my decision. It wasn't my decision. I wasn't even a thought then. Okay, I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Or what? Komenasai? Yeah, there you go.
Let's keep
That's
going with the shitty news, huh?
Keep the bad news.
Well, this
rolling.
isn't too
Actually,
shitty.
is
Like
this shit? Well, okay. I didn't
I
know.
don't-
Maybe
I didn't care too much. Well, so
about
actually,
one of them.
yeah. Well, all right. So recently, Iron Fist season 2 came out, and I'll be on Netflix. And to be honest, I really haven't been in the mood to watch it. Like it's
I haven't
something
been
that
in
I've
the mood
been
to watch any
dreading.
of this shit. So
like
I haven't. I still
honestly,
haven't watched since Daredevil season 2.
yeah, it's not that good. Like recently, like Jessica Jones season 2 wasn't that powerful.
Did you watch it?
I did. I watched season 2 of Jessica Jones. And I watched season 2 of Iron Fist.
So compared
Or
to
no, not
season
Iron
1
Fist. Sorry, of Luke Cage. That's right.
I thought it only had one season. The whole cancellation thing was season 2.
Oh, no,
Or am I crazy?
Iron Fist just came out with their second season. Like literally, I think last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, like it just
Yeah.
dropped.
It literally just dropped, and they were like, "Yo, this bomb's so fucking hard."
I mean, no one liked Iron Fist. It seemed.
No, well, yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people had a problem with the main character's writing. They felt like he was too much of a fucking child, which makes sense. Like I don't know if you guys watched any of the show.
Nope.
But he's so like, I don't know, not wise or anything. We also had to go through his like backstory. It was too many things that like no one really appreciated.
Isn't he also supposed to be an immortal or something?
No, it's
No?
the mantle Iron Fist is immortal.
However,
the person that is, that is an Iron Fist, like they're not immortal.
got it.
It's just the vessel that is called the immortal Iron Fist.
Got it.
Yeah. So yeah, if he was immortal, that'd make the hero so much less cool, honestly.
No, that's why.
But yeah, I mean, so following season 2 though, they cancel Luke Cage like last week. They were like, no more Luke Cage. But apparently Daredevil season 3 came out last Friday. So I need to watch that, and I've been hearing nothing but good things about it.
Well, so hold
That's
on.
good.
Just to clarify,
Mm.
Netflix announced in the last week both Luke Cage and Iron Fist are canceled.
Yes.
Apparently, one of the articles I read about it said that Iron Fist might be resurrected on the Disney streaming service as like a reboot.
Oh God.
I don't actually know, but
I didn't
pretty
hear
sure
that.
because I thought that was the first show they said Iron Fist is canceled. And then I think like a day or two later was when the news about Luke Cage came out.
Yeah.
So when Iron Fist was announced to be canceled, I thought there was headlines of like, hey, we might, maybe it'll come back someday. But then with Luke Cage, they were like, nah, this isn't coming back.
It ain't fucking coming back. Because no one wants a black superhero. No, I'm just kidding.
My God. See,
No.
that's why.
It's like season 2 is actually pretty bad. Like honestly, I don't even remember too much of it. It kind of went in a circle. Like, so I think what they were trying to do with Luke Cage and Jessica Jones is that they were going to set them up because both seasons expressed a very heavy tone on parenting.
Oh,
like
God.
throwing it in your face type shit. Like, and I was because I think because they were trying to set up the whole marriage between Luke Cage and Jessica Jones.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even in Jessica Jones season 1, it was like, hey, here's Luke Cage. They're hooking up.
Yeah. But yeah, I think they were trying to set that up, but like it was way too in your face, and I feel like it really brought down the show for what it was. But hey, man. And also, I'm tired of Netflix doing this thing where they feel like they have to crank out at least 10 to 13 episodes, and half the show is literally them talking about some other shit that I don't give a fuck about.
What?
Like I don't know if you guys have noticed that about like certain like Netflix shows.
What, they're just like, there's some episodes that just feel drawn out just for the sake of being there instead of just releasing
Yeah, like you
concise
could
content.
tell. Yeah, like I think that it stood out the most in The Punisher because do you guys plan on seeing it at all? I feel like you all.
No,
I was
you
gonna
can ruin
say,
it.
to be honest, I have not been watching any Netflix exclusive shows for a while now.
Because he's too busy watching anime.
Too busy watching anime.
Partially, but also just like nothing has grabbed my
appealing.
interest.
That's fair. But with The Punisher, I was like, I thought The Punisher was cool and all, right? But there's one story arc where they focus on this. Actually, I think I brought it up in the podcast once when I talked about it, but basically it focuses on this soldier that came back from, deployment, and he's all fucked up with PTSD, and they literally spend a good, I don't know, couple episodes on him, like at least a decent amount of screen time, like to be fucking considered the Punisher's fucking sidekick. Like, and it all and really culminated to nothing. It didn't serve any point of the story outside of just padding runtime. And like I feel like
a little lame.
Yeah, like I've noticed that Netflix has been going the way of cable TV shows.
I mean, if we ever get around to doing a topic again, I'd love to do a topic on how streaming services might have to have a reboot in a few years, or piracy is going to take over again.
All right, let me throw that on the list.
Okay.
I mean, they might.
I saw a headline about that recently, and I definitely kind of agree with that. But we can definitely talk about that as like a whole topic for another time when there's less news to carry.
Yeah. But yeah, we can keep going on to some things that are doing well.
Like,
even though
it's time for the pre-weeb shit.
Like, is this pre-weeb shit? Oh, I thought
I got thrown in before my weeb shit block, but let's do this.
Oh, all right, pre-weeb shit. Here we go.
You guys each contributed a weeb-related topic, but I want to give them
I contributed this one.
I understand that, but the one after this, someone else contributed.
Oh, Tyler.
So I want to thank both of you guys for going down the rabbit hole with me and letting the weeb shit bleed into the real news segments.
It was weird for like 2 weeks straight, since you were so busy. I had put like 3 news things in, and that was the only news in the fucking list. But yeah, so this is news from a few weeks ago. But so last podcast was actually right after we had seen the My Hero Academia movie in theaters. And we had seen it right near the end, Friedman, I think.
I saw it
it
was only there for a week.
We did the podcast Tuesday night, and that was like the last night it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it was supposed to air like Wednesday to Wednesday or something.
Yes.
Like so it was the very end we got a chance to talk about it.
Right after the podcast, that last time, Funimation announces this has been so successful.
Hold on,
I do.
A robot.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you got digitized for us for a second. You sound good now.
Sounds good? Okay.
Yeah.
You guys sounded fine, so...
That's all that matters. You're the one who's recording this.
Discord said it sounded... Discord showed red bars for like a second. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Tell Val to stop downloading porn again. It's not good.
Something tells me that's not an issue. Anyway.
Not good. It's throttling us, my dude. After.
So Funimation announced... Yes, I'm going to keep going.
Freeman's dead.
Funimation announced, like, right after the podcast, hey, this has been so fucking successful. We're going to do 2 more nights of showings. And we're just going to do it right after this. Like, we're not going to have any kind of break or anything. So it seems like they kind of announced this, like, they must have been surprised by how successful it was.
That's good. But, I enjoy seeing stuff like that.
Like, every single showing everywhere sold out. Even, like...
Yeah.
The thing is, when the last time we had an event this exciting was probably when Battle of the Gods hit theaters for Dragon Ball Z. Mm-hmm. But even then, it wasn't a week-long premiere. There were 2 showings everywhere, and that was it. You missed it, you missed it. With this, there were week-long showings, and every single one sold out. And I just put this point in here because Anime News Network reported that, at least in the U.S., not in Japan, but in the U.S., this is the 10th highest-grossing anime film of all time, behind mostly Studio Ghibli films and the first Pokemon movie.
Makes sense.
So this was insane.
Imagine how this would have done with a full like month or so in theaters. I would have seen it twice.
It probably would have done not as good because a lot of the like originally I wasn't sure if I was going to see it, and I was like, no, we only got a week. We gotta go to this, and because there was a time crunch, I went and saw it. So I don't know if it would have done as well with a full release. It's kind of like the exclusiveness of it that may have got people to go out and see it
Yeah,
right
but
now.
Freeman, come on. How many weebs besides me would have gone and seen it twice?
Oh, I don't know.
How many of those screaming
Oh,
girls?
all
would
the
have been like,
fangirls.
"I'm
The
gonna
fangirls
go"?
would have seen it like 5 or 6 times. At
Yeah,
minimum.
exactly. So they could have thrown a lot more money at it. So I don't know if that would have
There's
been
too much
evened out.
shipping in one movie. I don't like this.
Yeah, exactly. I think they would have beaten you to the punch.
Yeah,
they would have
would've-
paid for your ticket 5 times over. But yeah, so it's fantastic though. I thought it was a good time. I'm excited for the Blu-ray. I'll probably buy the Blu-ray when it comes out in January or something, or February, I think.
Definitely. One of my buddies was bugging recently. He's like, "Come on, I didn't get to see it. Can you download it?" I'm like, I wish I could download it.
Yeah,
It doesn't
you know
exist
which buddy
right now.
that was? That was fucking me.
No, you were the second person to bother me about it. That's
No,
why my
actually-
responses were ready to go when you asked me.
I had actually been like, oh, you know what? We haven't. I didn't know what me and Val were gonna watch for that night. I'm like, oh, I'll surprise her and download it. And I was like, oh, Freeman, I can't find it. He's like, oh, it hasn't even been released in Japan yet on DVD or Blu-ray, so there's no good movies, no good copies.
Yeah, no. It's really unfortunate.
Fuck. I see. I assumed that it, like I always assume with this kind of thing that it's already out and on DVD in Japan before it comes out in theaters here.
So if it was maybe 2 years ago or any year before that, you'd be 100% correct. We've now reached the magical era of Funimation doing these simul dubs where they can dub a movie in like 3 weeks and have it out in theaters.
I
So
love it.
we've reached an odd time where we can now see it in theaters at the same time, but now it takes longer to pirate it from when the release happens. So pick your poison.
Hey, I'll take seeing it in theaters.
I'm fine with this current batch of poison. I like this one very much.
Yeah,
It's good. It's good poison. Sip, 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 sip.
What the fuck?
So let's move on to something else that's toxic in the anime community.
Oh god! Oh god! There we go. Okay,
There we go. All right.
You were saying like
Tyler
sip,
ruined
sip,
everything.
sip.
Yeah, I was saying sip, 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 and then
Sound like a creepy Ed noise.
oh god,
Oh my
Sip,
god.
sip, sip, sip,
sip, sip, sip, sip, sip, sip, sip.
We just chased away all of our listeners.
Oh god, yeah, just Tyler's fucking Watson out.
Fucking
over
ruin
Oh my
it.
god.
But yo, so I watched this new show, anime, called Goblin Slayer.
Did you finish it?
I mean, it's only
Well, it's
got 3
currently airing.
episodes. Yeah, it's currently
Well,
airing.
Oh,
Am I
didn't
caught
know.
up?
Yes.
What
That's a
you're
better
asking?
question.
Yes.
Me
I am
too.
caught up.
Oh wow, Freeman, you too.
Yeah, I got
Oh,
a chance
wow.
to watch it over the weekend. I was not given the opportunity to talk about this one.
Yeah, so who was it? Everybody I talked to, like some of the people who I've seen it, like who've seen it too, they're like, I really didn't like that first episode. And I'm like, oh, why is that? Well, there's a graphic rape scene in it,
Yeah.
and it kind of puts me off from the whole thing. And
I
I'm
didn't
like,
see it, but there was literally a post on Reddit that reached the top page of Reddit of someone posting on r/out of the loop. What is going on with Goblin Slayer?
But see, you want to know what I want to understand? Why everybody's so upset about Goblin Slayer? Why? They want to watch Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is okay. But Goblin Slayer ain't.
All right, I want to approach this one gently because I have something I want to say, but I'm not sure if I want to word it correctly here.
Oh shit, here we go.
So I went into the first episode knowing full well someone is getting raped in this episode.
Same.
And it creates a very different approach than if you go in blindly, because the first 5 minutes of Goblin Slayer make it look like your standard fantasy anime. 4 explorers go into a cave to go beat the low-level enemy, and that's when you find out that main character has some super cool power. That's what everyone went into Goblin Slayer thinking it was going to be. What actually happened is, from the second they step in that fucking cave, anything that could go wrong does go wrong, and it's tough to watch. So I'm watching it, and the entire time, like, okay, well, I know what's gonna happen. They're gonna get fucking surrounded, and one by one, they're gonna get like killed and raped, and it's gonna be terrible. And you know what? That is exactly what happened. And it
Mhm.
made the first episode hard to watch because as someone who got to read all the articles first, I knew, it was gonna be dark. Something bad is going to happen here. And it made me physically uncomfortable to watch that first episode. Now that said, after all the bad stuff happens in the first 10 minutes, the next 10 minutes, pretty good episode. Next two episodes, pretty good. I like where Goblin Slayer is going, and I just want to talk for a bit about why having an extreme scene like that was important. And Tyler, you know a little bit because in episode 2 they dig a little bit deeper into the Goblin Slayer's backstory
Yeah.
about how, and I'm just going to talk about it, listeners. It's the beginning of episode 2. This isn't real spoiler stuff, but so the goblins in the show, all they do is they pillage and rape. They go and they steal livestock. They go and they capture women. And they haven't really explained it in the show, but they make a big point to explain in the manga is that all goblins are male. And they essentially act like a virus. What they do is they impregnate literally any species they can find. And
boy.
And whoever they do will produce male goblins. So they're literally a virus in this world. So they're just constantly doing this. They're constantly kidnapping women for that purpose. The first episode goes to show you kind of an extreme sense of like, this is why this is actually bad. We can talk about why it's bad, and you can put it in the back of your mind because you're never going to have to see it. Or we can put it front and center and make you realize this is a bad thing. And there's a reason there are people out there like the Goblin Slayer who are dedicated to removing these things from existence. So episode 2 rolls around, and he starts talking about how he got to watch all this shit happen to his sister, and how it pretty much traumatized him as a kid. But because you've already seen it in episode 1, they don't need to show it to you again. You already know exactly what he's talking about. And I thought that was pretty good because now we can just kind of get to like the real meat and bones of it. They can explain things to you, and you already have an emotional connection of why that is bad, that thing is happening. So
Yeah.
while it was uncomfortable to watch, I understand from the storytelling perspective why they had to start with the extreme and tell you this is where we are. Don't forget that because it's good. It could get back here if the main character doesn't do what he wants to do. And I think that was important for this series. I don't know. That's the kind of point I was trying to make. I wasn't trying to like.
No,
that makes a lot of
Dragon
sense.
eggshells
No,
of the
it's
comic,
great
yeah.
because you know why? Like, not only it sets the tone, but like, well, I mean, that's what it pretty much does. It almost puts that viewer in that place, like, it makes you uncomfortable, but you know the gravity of the situation now. Especially, it almost like what I enjoy about series like these is the jarring aspect of it, like especially when it comes to its viewers. Like I'm not saying it's taking a jab at its viewers or anything like that, but a lot of people who watch anime or movies, it's like, oh, the hero is going on a grand adventure, right? And like they don't talk about a lot of the bad stuff, like in old, like very very old stories they do,
Yeah.
but for a while they stopped, and now it's like getting back into this trend where it's like, yo, the adventure, like the glitz and glamour, like that's not real. Like what you thought would be like a really fun time, like doing all this stuff, it's not. It's fucking like this is real. This is fucking real. And like that's what I enjoyed about the first episode, because I know, like, because that's what I thought it was too. Like even when I was like, oh, what's with the rape scene? Like this seems like your like typical standard like anime, like based off a game type shit. I'm like, oh damn, but I liked it though. I like that. Not, I don't have like a weird kink or anything. People say I'm a fucking monster because they're like, man, you like the episode way too much. I'm like, yes, because it's fucking real, and you don't see anything like that anymore.
Yeah, there's a fine line everyone's drawn. I think people are drawing it wrong. I didn't like Goblin Slayer because there was a rape scene in it. Like that's not the point of the scene. The point of the scene is to show you, like, just to take it back, like Goblin Slayer is a show about genocide. No one's talking about this. This is a show about a man who's dedicated to wiping an entire species off the planet, and they need to give you a real good reason why this species needs to. And that's what the point of this was. This wasn't meant to be some kind of like rape fantasy. Although I'm not gonna lie, based on what I've heard about the manga, it sounds like that's what this series is for this author. He just writes all this dumb, crazy shit happening to women, and then Goblin Slayer shows up and kills everyone. So
Oh,
I'll
boy.
take and put that aside. But point is, I think this is being blown up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't. I think for people who watch it or who decide to watch it, I think it's great. So far, they have some pretty decent characters. I don't know.
No, the characters are nice. The problem is, and this is the part that gets me, is the author treats this series like it's quite literally a D&D. So
Yes.
in the third episode, he mentions, "Oh, the gods are just fucking around rolling dice, and that decides what happens in the world." And I'm like, "Okay, so it's D&D, is what you're talking about." But he's at the point where every character, while unique, is boiled down to like a very generic aspect, to the point where no one actually has real names. Goblin Slayer's name
That's
is Goblin
right.
Slayer. The girl who works on the farm, her character's name is Cowgirl. The
Oh,
girl who's a
boy.
priest,
Yeah,
her name
no
is
one's got
Priestess.
names.
No one has names. They have like classes.
Oh,
They
nice.
introduced this elf in the last episode. Her name is just like Elf. But like nobody refers to anyone else by name. They just talk to and about Goblin Slayer as his name. And it's
Goblin
weird because
Slayer.
while you're watching it, it feels natural. But then you'll go read discussions and everyone's just referring to every character is just like a generic phrase. And it feels
Yeah.
really weird. It's almost like these characters aren't fleshed out, but they kind of are.
Mhm.
Like they all got backstories.
Everyone's
They
got
all
like
have
very
like their
distinct
weird
characters.
little quirks. Yeah. Like it's like especially with Goblin Slayers, like as I mentioned him now, it feels weird, right?
Yeah.
But like he's like, even he doesn't like talk or like do anything, but like they describe him in great detail, in the first episode, basically, like with a couple of characters, like, oh, he's a high ranking dude, but he only kills goblins. So like not only are they describing what this person is, they're also describing what kind of world it is and what kind of expectations like these quote unquote heroes are expected to do. And that this guy, as strong as he is kind of not so revered by everybody else. In fact, I compared this. I'm pretty wrong on this, but like it made me think of Initial D a lot.
Yes. Where everyone's like, "Oh, that kid in the fucking Corolla, there's no way he's the great racer on the mountain." But as it turns out, everyone's got something they're good at.
Yeah.
And this
And
guy's
that's
good at
just his
slaying
one thing.
goblins.
And that's killing fucking goblins. And everybody's like, oh, he's probably not good at anything else. And guess what? Yeah, you're probably right.
Probably right.
But guess what? How many goblins how many times have you raced down Mount Akina and won? against Tack?
Against the
None.
ghost of Akina.
Yeah, fucking none. So yeah. That's my take on it. I think people should, I don't know, look past the rape scene a little bit.
I'm not gonna lie, the first episode is rough and it's gonna turn a lot of people off. I think the show's worth the watch. I do have two legitimate criticisms with the show.
Mm-hmm.
I just posted a picture in our group chat. If anyone just Googles Goblin Slayer, and you'll see the original art from the manga. The manga looks way more gruesome and cool than what the anime came out with. Like I was expecting like all these like heavy line drawings to show up, and essentially it has the Berserk problem where the manga art is so good that they would have to spend an exorbitant amount of money to try to translate that into the anime. So they kind of just don't. And it kind of bothers me because Goblin Slayer, his armor looks cool, but if like I want to go read the manga now because it looks so much cooler than what the anime is producing. If you watch an anime only, you're gonna enjoy it. Kind of just because I brought up Berserk, CG in this show is bugging me hard. So
the fucking armor throws me off.
anytime there's a close-up shot, it's drawn in 2D and his armor looks fine. But if they have to draw him walking or they do a zoom out, they switch to a CG model of him. And it looks like ass,
bad.
and it's super noticeable. And the entire ending animation is him just walking against the background. And it shouldn't have been that much money to draw him doing like a walking cycle and just loop that for the entire minute 30 ending. No, they did it in CG and it looks terrible.
It does look
it's
very
the
bad.
same like walking problem that Berserk had. And
we'll also talk about CG that's a little disconcerting in the next thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up CG later, and I'll just go at it now. The biggest problem with CG is that when gamers talk about games running in 30 frames per second, everyone talks about like it's the worst shit in the world. It turns out anime is animated at 24 frames per second. So you know what they do? They don't even bother trying to animate shit in 60 frames. It's going to come down to 24. So that's why all this CG in anime always looks super choppy. It's only rendered at 24 frames per second at best. Most anime, it's 12 frames per second, and they just double each frame. So if you have a really lazy studio, they're producing these CG shots at 12 frames per second, and that's why a lot of the movement looks like ass.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this will come up during a later discussion during our next segment.
That
Is it time to move on?
To the
are we
actual
the
officially
real
breaching?
Weeb shit. Let's do it. You heard the hard-hitting news first. Now for the rest of it.
Yeah, really. Now we're just going from anime news to anime news. So
All right,
really,
Tim, you've been teasing this for weeks. Do you want to talk about it?
so it's so funny to talk about this now that it's been like actually weeks since we finished watching Overlord. But yes, my girlfriend and I finally finished watching Overlord. I think we had started it last time, had we? I honestly don't remember. I honestly don't remember if we had actually started it, but
I think you were like in the middle or done with season 1.
maybe. Either way, we finished watching Overlord, and honestly, I thought it was a fantastic time. It was a ton of fun. And I was disappointed to find out afterward that Freeman actually did not really enjoy the show.
No, Tim, explain to the viewers why it's a good show. I want you to do
So-
what I do and sell everyone on the show.
So, the easiest way I can describe this is it's, for me at least, it scratches the same itch as One Punch Man. I finally figured that out last week when I thought I forgot we weren't gonna do the podcast. It's that same kind of, the main character is so strong that there's nothing that is really threatening to them. But it still makes you kind of worry a little bit sometimes, because you never really are, like, they're always like, oh, look how sure we are, and you're just like, are you sure? Because the same thing happens with Saitama, like with Boros. Until Boros is like, oh, you're just fucking with me, you actually think maybe there's a fight here. And it's a similar feeling to Overlord, which means it's just mostly about the characters. And watching this guy go from middle manager who just ran a WoW guild, basically, to, oh shit, I'm actually an undead lich monster who has to run an empire now. This is actually super weird, and he realizes that he's basically becoming an evil dictator.
Sounds like a fucking loser.
Honestly, I just had a ton of fun with it. I've been rewatching clips at work when I'm bored and stuff like that, and it's a little silly because, like, I mean, he is super ungodly powerful compared to almost everyone else in this universe. But even like most of his servants everyone else on his side are NPCs who gain sentience. When it's kind of like a SAO, Tyler, where the game ends, but instead of it just turning into its own world, it's like the guild hall that him and his friends had built, along with all the NPCs who had been living in it and working for them, is just suddenly transported to a different world. And in this world, the guy obviously can't log out or anything like that. None of the game functions exist anymore, but he's still insanely powerful and high-leveled. And that's basically where it drops you in. And it's just super fun watching him go from trying to figure out the new world they live in, how to, like, and then they realize, oh, some magic and technology from our game is also here. That's really weird. Are there other most of the story is about him trying to figure out if other players from his game have ended up here. But by the end of the second season, he realizes, oh, I've accidentally been taking over the entire world.
Damn.
I can. That being said, I can definitely see how. Like, I know, Freeman, you, like I said, you at the end of season 1, it wasn't really doing anything for you. I could totally see how it's not for everybody.
It's
easily. But for me, it just was a ton of fun. It was fun to watch an evil guy interact with his subordinates who are unequivocally evil, and he's kind of wrestling with, I don't really want to be evil, but I'm an undead lich now, so I kind of don't really have emotions as much.
I think a bit
And
of it was that he's like, I really have to just kind of play the character I'm kind of at right now. I can't really just like stop being this guy I've been building up.
He's like, I have to basically be this overlord because that's what they all see me as. This super master evil conqueror guy. I have to just learn how to play this role, and constantly he's like, oh shit, is this, I have to be commanding, and it's really funny because even in the third season, his character's inner monologue is like this normal sounding guy, but he always talks like this when he's talking out loud.
The evil lich voice whenever he's talking to other characters.
I don't know. I just had a ton of fun with it. I thought it. Go ahead.
It's a very divisive show in the anime community. When it was coming out, and even as season 2 and I guess 3 were coming out, it had a huge amount of vocal support. People were eating the shit out of the show, and there was a silent minority that just didn't like it. And when it was coming out, I really didn't say anything because I was watching along, and from the first 3 or 4 episodes, I was enjoying it. But around the middle of season 1, I stopped really losing interest. And I remember I marathoned the last half in a single day because I was like, I need to get through this. And I mean, I'm just gonna say the show wasn't for me. Overlord is an interesting take on the overpowered main character concept, and I'm gonna bring this up later on when I talk about some of the spring shows this season. But whether a show is good or not in that genre depends on how it is delivered. With One Punch Man, I mean, you mentioned earlier that you were curious if the Boros fight was gonna be real. I'm not gonna lie to you. After episode 3 with the gorilla fight, where he has that 5-minute sequence, like, oh no, I may have messed up. And you're sitting there like, is he about to lose? And then he makes a joke about how he missed the fucking sale day at the supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
From that episode on, there was never any doubt in my mind that he was going to win every single fight. And I never had like a moment. So for me, the humor of the show was, okay, he's going to show up and win, but like, what's going to happen until then? And how funny is it going to be? Because it was a comedy. With Overlord, its big appeal is the fact that for probably the first time in forever, the main character is not doing good things. He is, in all essence, a villain. And this is probably the number one show that people recommend to shows where they want to see like the villain's perspective or someone doing something evil, even though it doesn't do anything like that terrible in season 1. But
it gets worse though.
It gets a lot worse. Yeah, it's interesting for what it does. It wasn't for me. A lot of my enjoyment of anime is getting behind character motivations. If a character starts doing something where I'm just like, well, I don't understand why the fuck you would do that, you start losing me. And a lot of Overlord was just, I couldn't resonate with what the character was doing. Even if I understand why they were doing it, it wasn't entertaining for me. And I personally didn't like it. I'm not going to say anything about the quality of the show. I'm going to say this much, and this comes up again later with one of the shows in this season of anime. But if you can save a lot of budget by not animating your main character talking, you can spend that budget animating a lot of other cool things. And that's exactly what Overlord does, because the main character is just like this static skeleton that doesn't move as...
Yeah, his mouth doesn't move at all, Tyler.
They got to save up the budget for some of the fights by doing it.
It only moves when there's comedic scenes where his mouth drops open in surprise, or like when one of his female assistants like hits on him, and his mouth just does this open jaw thing.
Oh,
it's
God.
pretty funny.
Like that fucking One Piece shit when they fucking have their mouths open.
Not as extreme as One Piece, but yeah, kind of like those kind of jokes.
But it is really just the main character. All the other characters actually, like, their mouths move. It's not like everybody doesn't, but it's just funny because he's Undead Skeleton Man, I guess. And then the rest of the time he has a helmet on, so you don't even see his face.
Not gonna lie, his armor kind of reminds me a lot of Goblin Slayer. With the shape of the helmet.
I don't want to take too long because we are already at an hour.
That's fine. I can go fast for the rest of the weeb shit.
No. I was just going to say... the thing that made me want to watch Overlord in the first place was Mother's Basement's video on it. It's like 15 minutes, and that really was the show that made me kind of interested in watching. I will say the one thing I disagree with is he, and I think you, Freeman, we actually kind of talked about, or no, we talked about this in the last podcast episode, where it sounded like in the start of season 2, there's this mysterious force attacking this innocent group of lizards, and you're supposed to be surprised that it's Ainz.
Yeah.
But if you actually watch the show, there's a scene at the end of the first season where it's not a surprise. I think we talked about that already.
Yeah, probably the reason for the surprise, there was a huge gap between season 1 and season 2, so most people had forgotten.
Yeah. So other than that, I actually agree with Mother's Basement's video a lot, and I don't know. Check it out for yourself. Give it a few episodes. It's super not that long. It's only 13 episodes a season, I think, and there's 3 seasons. Oh, but the CGI thing I wanted to point out. they save a lot of budget in this show by having some pretty bad CGI with like groups that like trolls are all CGI, and even when there's troll characters, they're just CGI. But it's really bad in season 3. There's this whole goblin army that shows up, and it's just 6 shots of the shield corps and the horse riding corps, and it's literally just the same model copied like 20 times for each shot of like 10 different types of unit. And that's all it is. And then later on, there's this huge battle with like like hundreds of thousands of guys, and it's all just faceless guys in general armor with spears and stuff who just kind of like, there's a scene where a bunch of them die to a spell and they all just kind of fall over limply. It's pretty bad. But the actual story of the show is really fun. And I will say, season 3 had a lot of really good stuff. It was good enough that I actually bought the first light novel as much as I'm going down because I've been running out of stuff.
Here we go.
Well, it also helps that I know, but it also helps that I've been running out of stuff to read on my Kindle. And since it's more of a book than an actual manga, I feel like I can just sit down and actually read the light novel. Because apparently there's also a lot of content that's cut out and missed and stuff. And I'm genuinely interested enough to actually want to read the light novel and find out what all this other stuff was. Plus, I know that they've said, I think they said after season 2 and probably again after 3, like, hey, we're not coming out with this right away, and we're not even really sure if we're going to do another season. So, putting my money where my mouth is.
Listeners, you just did exactly what they want you to do. The whole point of the anime is to promote the sales of the original media. If it does well, they might be inclined to do another season. So exactly, Tim, exactly what you just did. That is the #1 way to get your show another season of the anime.
Yeah.
So thank you. You are a man of culture.
You're saving anime, Tim.
But the other side of it is, like, I haven't done that for My Hero or anything, but I don't really want to. I've never been a big comic person. I know, Tyler, you are, but I've never been really into comics. I would rather read a book or watch something. I don't really go for comics usually. So the fact that it is a light novel base instead of like My Hero, which I'm pretty sure is a manga, right, Freeman? Isn't it?
Yeah, it's a manga.
So I don't really want to watch that or read that. Plus, with My Hero, it's not like I need to support My Hero. My Hero is already the biggest thing on the fucking planet. It doesn't need my help, but Overlord feels like it might genuinely need my help to get another season, and I've enjoyed the anime enough that I want to watch it. So, all right, I'll now we're getting really.
Now we're getting into some shit.
It's fine, guys. Everything's gonna be fine. The sky isn't falling. Oh wait, yes it is. So
psych, nigga, you thought.
This kind of plays into that whole piracy topic I was talking about before.
So listeners, on Saturday, Crunchyroll had released an article explaining the details of something that Funimation, I don't think they themselves announced yet. But Funimation, who had been previously bought by Sony Pictures earlier in the year, they were announcing that their partnership with Crunchyroll that has lasted, I guess maybe the last year or two, is ending. So the way the partnership worked was with Amazon and Netflix joining the fray of buying up these shows left and right. The two of them decided, let's stop competing with each other and work together on this. What they would do is they would jointly acquire shows, and Crunchyroll would they would air the subtitle version, and Funimation would have all the rights to the dub and home media release. And part of this was that Crunchyroll would get access to some of the shows on Funimation's site, and Funimation would get the distribution rights for some of the shows that Crunchyroll had, but did not have the means to actually deliver those DVDs. So it was a win-win for everyone. The anime community was very happy. It meant that there was one stop for all your stuff. With VRV, it supported both of them. So if you wanted to link your accounts, just go through Verve, you could do that. Starting this weekend, Funimation and Crunchyroll would no longer be jointly acquiring shows. Any shows that they acquired during that in-between time, such as like My Hero Academia or literally anything over the last 2 years, they will continue to remain with their current agreements where Crunchyroll and Funimation both have access to them. I believe that Funimation will return to having subtitled versions of those shows on their websites, but no one is losing content that was previously acquired in that deal.
Fucking God, because you know what the two big ones are? My Hero and fucking Dragon Ball Super.
So Dragon Ball
Those
Super.
Are, those are huge.
Actually, yeah, no, the subtitle version was on Crunchyroll. Anyway,
Yeah.
regardless, I'm happy. I'm not happy this happened, but I'm happy it turned out the way it did. This means that no one's going to lose access to the content they previously had. What you paid for is what you get, and I'm happy about that. This is going to be a blow to the anime community at large because now it means that Crunchyroll and Funimation are both going to have way less shows each season. It's going to be a bigger split. You can't really just rely on just one. If you only watched dubs, you're going to have less shows that you watch. If you only watch sub, you're going to need multiple accounts to do this again.
Amazing.
What am I getting at here?
This
Hopefully,
is shit.
this drives some competition. Crunchyroll has finally released their HTML5 player, which is, it's getting better. It has some problems. Like one of the issues I have
Oh
is
my God.
the Phoenix Wright season 2 is coming out, and in Japanese their names are one way, but Capcom translated names goofy to make all the puns work in the English games. So what Crunchyroll did when it came out was they had 2 subtitle tracks, one with the real names, one with the fake English names that I prefer watching. Now with the new player, it's harder to select what you're looking for, and they're still working on some of these issues. But the real thing I'm bringing up here is that Funimation's player is a load of crap. It is actually the worst player in the world. They haven't figured out how to do subtitles on Roku, so you have to fuck with your closed captioning settings to get their app to work on Roku and similar devices. So that's the big problem I have here is that while Crunchyroll may be playing catch up in the HTML5 game, they have expressed interest in improving their product. Funimation has already done 3 overhauls since 2015, and it's still a piece of shit player, which makes me very upset because that means I am forced to watch shows using their player subtitled, and it's going to be shit. But the bright side is that VRV is now partnered with High Dive, so you don't have to use the shitty High Dive player anymore. You can go use Verve if you use that. But that's about it for the Crunchyroll Funimation divorce. That was probably the biggest news to drop in the last couple weeks. Everything else is about new releases.
There's been a lot of memes
not
surrounding it.
I think the better way to say it is not non-show specific news.
Yes, this is just general
anime news.
Yeah, just animes and industry news. The rest is going to be very specific. And speaking of specific news, we finally got the trailer for Trigger's Project Promare, and we got the news that I didn't want to hear, which I think I reported last time we all gathered for this beloved podcast, is that Promare is going to be a movie, not a TV show. Which means A, way less content, but it also means B, better animation. But you thought there was going to be better animation.
Yep.
Until they revealed that the whole fucking thing is in CG. So they got this weird animation CG blend going on for Promare, and as the trailer showed, which honestly half the trailer was literally them just bragging about shows they previously worked on. The minute and 6-second trailer, the first 33 seconds is them showing off that they worked on Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill, and that was it. Then it jumps in, and you have this Kamina-looking dude zoomed in on the camera. Then they start showing everyone in action, which makes you realize this is some kind of weird CG blend for all the main characters. And there's a lot of shit going around on screen. There's particle bloom. It looks really cool. And then they show the robots, and they're in CG, and they're running at 12 frames per second. And they have this robot show up. He goes to fight, and then he sits down on this throne, and he does the fucking "I'm bored on the throne" pose. And you know what I'm talking about? You slouch down on the throne, you put your right arm up, and you kind of lean on your fist. And the robot does this in the most forced fucking way possible. That made me think this looks stupid. They are trying to be cool, but you can't be cool in CG at 12 frames per second. So I'll put it this way. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. That was how I felt watching the trailer. I was so excited for it. This movie is probably going to look cool if they fix these robots, but there's no release date given, which means they still have a lot of time to work on it. But I'm going to say it right now. If Trigger announces the project, I'm just not going to be excited for it anymore. That's just how it is. Trigger isn't what I thought they were.
Oof.
But you know who isn't who I thought they were?
Oh God.
Oh no.
Our boy Elon Musk is the new face of anime. So 2 weeks ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago, everyone was searching Elon Musk weed. Now everyone's searching for Elon Musk weeb.
Oh, that's good.
As part of his elaborate scheme to throw off the SEC, he's trying to go down the
podcast canceled.
The Donald Trump route of I just tweet whatever I'm thinking at the moment, so no one can think any of my tweets are business investment. So someone asked him, "What do you think of anime?" And he's like, "Yo, that movie Your Name was really good." And immediately everyone's like, "Yo, what the fuck? He's watching anime." And then he's like, "Yeah, I watched Evangelion. We should build mechas." He said in a tweet, "We should build a mecha." And everyone lost their goddamn mind.
I
This
mean,
is-
with good reason.
Get in the robot, Shinji.
Getting the robot Shinji. This is what we've been dreaming of. We got mainstream appeal. The one guy who could reasonably make Gurren Lagann may
Dude,
be
I was gonna say
interested.
you could easily see him in an alternate universe being a Kamina like a person where he's just gonna jump out and be like, "Let's fucking go."
Hey man, what do you think?
Just combine them.
Guys, what do you think the Boring Company does?
Oh
they
my
drill.
Oh,
god!
fuck you.
Oh my god! Oh shit! And then they go to the heavens. Oh my god!
That's right. SpaceX
Oh
is just the second
my
arc of Gurren Lagann.
God, I
So
we
is like
gotta
the
stop.
entire
We
city
gotta
of
stop.
LA just gonna
we gotta
turn
stop.
into
No,
into
hold on,
Gurren?
Tim. I gotta stop. We gotta go.
No.
I can't handle this. My
Well,
mind
you'll
is
just move on.
blown, Tim. You don't understand. This is irreparable damage for the entire night.
Dude, this is
I
what
have to
happens. Like, this is the kind of
reset.
thing. Like, if I won the lottery tonight, someone's your $1.6 billion, I'm gonna look right in the camera and say, "I'm gonna make anime real." That's what he's doing.
Make anime real.
Genetically engineered cat girls. It's happening.
Oh my god, I
No,
did see people
that's
asking
not-
about that.
That's not the kind of anime I want. That's not the kind of anime world I want. I want
You
mechs
know that
in
that's
it.
where it goes immediately.
I
Stop
know. I know that's where it goes. It's not fair.
it.
Fucking genetically engineered cat girls.
Moving on to the real anime world that I like seeing. For anyone who hasn't watched it, if you like One Punch Man, you should definitely go watch the creator One's other series, Mob Psycho 100. Animated by the same studio that does My Hero Academia, but animated in One's really shitty art style. Mob Psycho 100 is a 12-episode thriller. I fucking love this show. And Studio Bones is working on season 2 in their off time between Hero Academia seasons. And they did
Well,
confirm...
isn't it just a different? I thought Bones had a whole team that was My Hero, and then they had other teams that could do other stuff.
They do, but they have a lot of their animators float between shows. Like,
Oh,
I forget what his name is. The guy who does all the big shots. The one who did the All Might versus Nomu, the Deku versus Todoroki, the fucking Bakugo leap this season, on top of that, like,
Those
12-second
homies.
bit during the Deku Bakugo fight. That one
Mhm.
animator does all the good shit. After he did the Bakugo Deku fight, he announced, I'm getting moved off onto Mob Psycho 100 Season 2, which he worked on the first season of, and he did all the crazy cool fight sequences. So he's back on that. Point is, there were rumors that it was going to come out January of next year, so it was going to be during the winter anime season, and we're kind of getting our confirmation because they are going to premiere it at Anime NYC, which is in beginning of November, which means it's the first episode's already out. At first, I was skeptical because the One Punch Man season 2 episode 1 has already come out, despite the fact that's not coming out until next year. But it sounds like it's coming out real soon, and I'm beyond excited. Mob Psycho is an amazing show. Let's move on. I think all right, we're gonna get into the memes real quick. So last time we spoke,
oh boy.
the meme community was devastated because some unfunny bullshit that was Bowsette happened. So the anime memes community collectively decided we need to be better than this. We can't just let a pair of boobs define our humor.
God.
So someone
Oh.
posted a picture from this one manga called Komi-san is Bad at Communication. And it was this like chibi-ish girl with these like huge eyes. And people just start posting more and more memes around. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? So I decided to read the manga because that's
Oh, God.
that's how I find good anime and manga. And this is
Free man.
this is the most wholesome thing I've ever read. So I just want to talk about this real quick before we go any further. So the concept of the show is this guy goes to school and there's this one girl who she's cool and aloof and no one talks to her. And every time you go to approach her, she just starts muttering some shit and stares at you like really intently and scares the shit out of you. The main character doesn't really have any friends, but he's really good at reading people. And one day he kind of figures out like no one talks to her because she doesn't talk to anyone. And he approaches her. He's like, "Hey, say something to me." And she's just completely unable to say anything and starts staring at him. He's like, "Are you staring at me because you're mad? Or are you staring at me because you literally can't say anything?" And he pieces it together that she has some kind of a communication disorder. She can't talk to people.
Oh.
And every time she tries to like get the words out, she gets this really like mean look on her face. So he starts just talking with her on a chalkboard, and they have this whole conversation that goes on for the whole chapter until he's like, "You know what? I'm going to help you." So the whole plot of the manga is him trying to help her overcome this communication disorder and make friends. And this show is fucking adorable. I'm trying to get Luigi to read it, but I know he doesn't read manga, so I'm trying to get him to just like sit down and read like the first 2 chapters, because I read the first 11 like in a row at the airport this weekend. This is like this was the sugar my heart needed to complete my diabetes. This is what I needed. This is like laid back camp levels of sugar that I didn't need.
Oh man!
Yeah. If Val's got time, I want her to read this.
Okay, tell her.
This is a great manga.
She'll
I'll
do
recommend it to her.
She's been looking for wholesome.
She messaged me on like Friday night saying, "Freeman, quick! I need a wholesome rec. It's an emergency." And I was like, "It's an emergency."
Yeah, because I went to Magic on Saturday.
But like, I don't know. She was watching some scary show and needed something to like.
Oh, no, that was Saturday because she tried to start watching that haunted house on the haunted hill or something from Netflix that I've heard good things about. We're gonna watch it eventually, but she didn't want to watch that by herself.
Tyler, was it good?
So she wanted wholesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
All right, I might watch.
And I have a pretty high standard. I won't lie for horror. Like a lot of horror I sit through, I'm like, man, this is fucking lame. Or like it just annoys me. It's like, oh, jump scare. And I mean, I'm going off top a little bit, just real quick, but it's got some jump scares, but like a lot of it is tension. It's pretty good. Yeah, I recommend it if you're into spoopy things.
Interesting. I might have some friends who are interested.
Yeah.
But anyway, off of Komi-san on to actual real anime news. Tim has watched Konosuba, so he's trash just like me and Luigi.
Fucking yeah, but you guys like it.
We've already been talking about it.
I'm still like, nah,
it's fine, Tim. You just need to accept what this show is. Don't think about it too hard. Anyway, so Konosuba is not getting a season 3. It is getting a movie instead. There were rumors that it wasn't going to happen in 2019, but the production committee has come forward and said the Konosuba movie will come out in 2019. Whether that means January or December is yet to be decided. As a Kingdom Hearts fan, I'm going to say it's going to come out in December of 2019 because we all know how release dates work. Anyway, keeping on the theme of anime movies, Tim, you haven't seen this show yet, but I guarantee you're going to see it within the next year. Chunibyo, one of my personal favorite, adorable but also cringy shows. The first season, great, loved it. Second season, just okay. In lieu of a third season, they got a movie, which was very well received. I may have the subtitled copy acquired through less than legal measures, but the movie is getting a U.S.-Canada screening in November. They have not announced dates yet. I don't believe it's through Funimation, so it's probably going to be like a 1 or 2 night streaming event that's only like, I don't know, for us it would be like only in New York City. But if it is local, I may go see this because that whole series is adorable. And Luigi and I both have vetted that show and said this is something Val will like to watch. And Val's trending towards showing you all the shows that we tell her to watch. So you're probably going to watch this at some point. We're watching The Tutors right now. We're trying to not watch an anime right now. Okay.
Why not?
We'll
but
see.
I'm sure if Val found out that you had something
but
that
anime is
that.
Life.
Dude, I still have that entire Word document I sent her. Just like, you're going to like these
Yeah, I know.
shows.
I told her that, and she's like, let's watch The Tutors. Because I tried to get her to watch Spartacus, and Tutors won.
All right.
Yo, I did not like Spartacus.
You're a piece of shit.
Yeah, you're right.
Great.
You're right.
No, see, it's fine if Freeman doesn't like Overworld, but fuck you if you don't like Spartacus.
Dude,
is fucking great.
It's 2OD, man.
It's
Show's
fucking
2OD.
good.
I haven't watched it.
Anyway,
Not
spring season is underway. Wait,
that's right. The real topic, which is also the last thing on our notes. So listeners who are tired of listening to us, you're in the home stretch. So spring season of anime is underway. I'm still trying to wrap up everything from last season. I just finished watching,
of course,
Harukana receive the beach volleyball anime, and I'm on the last 2 episodes of Hanebado, the badminton anime. But it's tough wrapping up. I started watching some stuff just so I could talk about some of the new shows for this season. First on the top, Goblin Slayer. I'm going to say no more because we already talked about it this episode.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it despite everything. I definitely think it's worth the watch. The next one on the list, I mentioned it briefly in the last episode when I was making fun of shows with weird titles because the English title for this show is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime.
Oh, fuck, right.
And I saw the synopsis, I'm like, what the fuck is this show? And I watched the first episode, and this is like my surprise hit of the season. I didn't think I would enjoy this as much as I did. So there's a big thing in anime. You know, right now it's kind of phasing out right now, but the concept is called isekai, which loosely translates to another world. In the same vein of Overlord, in the same vein of Sword Art Online, it's the concept of you as a person in our world get moved to a fantasy world, and the idea behind that is that you, the viewer, you relate to the main character because he's from the same world you are, but he's also learning about the fantasy world at the same pace you are. So you kind of project yourself onto him. With this show, they made fun of it so hard. In the first minute, the main character gets randomly stabbed on the street for no fucking reason. And while he's sitting there, like, bleeding out, his coworkers are, like, crying, like, oh no, he's gonna die, he's gonna die. And he's telling his coworkers his last words are, delete my hard drive. And while he's doing that, he's having this internal monologue, just like, it's not even really a monologue. He's complaining about how he got stabbed. He's like, damn, I wish I wasn't in such pain right now. And while this is happening, this godlike voice is listening to him and responding with, oh, you're in pain? Here, I'm going to give you this you can't be hurt ability. But he can't hear what this god is saying. And it's kind of almost like he's at the beginning of a video game where they're divvying out abilities. And he just keeps telling, he's like, oh man, I'm losing blood. Now it feels really hot. Now it feels really cold. God's like, okay, cool. You have heat resistant, cold resistance now. What else do you want? And he's like, man, this is a really shocking turn of events. God's like, all right, shock resistance. You got it. What else? And he just keeps listing off this dumb shit about his life. And then he goes like, and he references one of my favorite internet jokes. They say if you are a virgin when you turn 30, you become a wizard. If you're a virgin at 40, you become a sage. So he mentions that joke, and they give him, okay, you have wizard and sage powers too. And they just start giving him all these fucking abilities. And then he finally dies. And then this god voice is like, all right, time to start over. And he's like, what do you mean start over? And he gets reincarnated as a slime. And this is the part where I'm like, okay, well, this is the part where it gets boring. Except the entire first episode is really cool. Imagine if you suddenly lost every sense of being. You don't have taste, you don't touch, you don't smell, you don't have sight. You don't have limbs, you don't have anything. You're suddenly a slime. Imagine how you as a person would adapt to realizing what you are right now. So he goes through this really trippy sequence they animated really well, where he pieces together the fact that he doesn't have arms or legs and he can't really see or feel anything. But he has this cool ability where he can basically just like dissolve things around him and figure out what like the makeup of them was. So first he just eats the grass and he starts learning about like nutrients and what he can use them for. Then he starts breaking down these magic crystals and he's like, oh, I can use these for abilities and shit. And the first episode is him just literally figuring out how to be a slime. And I didn't think it would be as interesting as it was, but this is probably one of the best first episodes of a show I've seen in a long time. And it covers, this kind of dips into the overpowered main character because he has broken abilities. The whole thing is he doesn't know how to use them and he's learning as he goes. So you can tell he's going to be pretty broken really soon, but he's not there yet. And I like that we can see some progression as he becomes the overpowered main character. But at the same time, he's a fucking ball of slime on the ground, and it's hilarious. So I'm on episode 2. I think 4 came out today. So I'm really excited to watch the rest. My boy over at Glass Reflections just released a video on this, and he holds the same sentiment I do. So there you got two famed anime YouTubers telling you to watch this show. Listeners, go do it. But moving on, keeping on the theme of shows where you get trapped in another world, Sword Art Online is back. And I'm gonna say it's really good. This season of Sword Art Online has dealt with every issue that I've had with Sword Art Online so far. The first episode was like an hour long. It almost felt like a movie. But it's dealing with the fact that plot lines from before are tying in. Characters who were in the background before are important now. The show's taking on more of a heavier feel. It's not all about, oh man, look at all these fucking VR games. Kirito is going on this kind of research experiment about how VR is starting to become dangerous and we need to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. And as part of this, he ends up, based on episode 2, he's sort of loosely trapped in another game, but he doesn't know the rules yet. It's not as clear cut as season 1 where it's like, here are the fucking rules of the game, get to floor 100 and you win. This is like, I'm not sure why I'm trapped in a game again, but I need to figure out what's going on. And it's got this air of mystery. You don't know what's going on, and it doesn't feel super video gamey, but it is still a video game. I really like it so far. Mother's Basement was beating around the bush in his video about this season of anime, where he just would not bring up Sword Art Online because he shit on it so hard, but he's willing to give this season a shot. And if he's willing to give it a shot, I think you should too. Nameless listener who's listening to this show.
Nah, I ain't doing
I
it.
thought you were talking to me.
No, not you.
I thought you were talking to me because fuck that.
Give it a shot.
No, they failed me like Bungie failed me.
You need to give it. I think it might be worth it.
You know who else said that Destiny 2 would be worth it?
Oh my god, all of us.
Yeah.
Look, man, judge me by my successes, not by my failures.
Down the
$60 pissed away.
Hey, man, I wasted that money alongside you, so I'm on equal footing.
Speaking of video games, we need to play SWAT someday.
We do.
SWAT, some of the best $4 I've ever spent, actually.
Seriously.
Listeners, if you want us to play SWAT again, hit that like and subscribe button, leave a comment below.
Don't forget to ring that bell.
No.
Join the subscriber squad.
We're supposed to fucking play it no matter what they do.
No.
We're gonna play it. I'm just.
Yeah, we got to do the meme. We got to do the YouTube meme.
We got to keep that YouTube meme. We got to like keep up with current trends.
Yeah, and then once we do that, we switch to Siege.
I like.
I've actually played anything. I gotta look into it. And but you want to know what's not a joke? All jokes aside, what they did with Attack on Titan. So Attack on Titan was announced to be 25 episodes continuous run. Some crazy bad shit happened with the production. The last episode of Attack on Titan had 15 directors and 52 key animators. Most episodes only have like 10 key animators and like 1 to 2 directors. Some shit went down with the production, and then they announced we're doing a split core. There's going to be a break. I was like, okay, cool. It's only going to be like 3 months, 12 weeks. So like, nope. We're doing a 6-month break between the first and second half of season 3.
Wow.
It's like, what the fuck? Are you for real? And they ended on a very odd note. It's quite literally the transition from one arc into another, where it ends with the characters running off into the sunset towards literally the next adventure. Now, I'm kind of paraphrasing next. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. Tyler, are you caught up on Attack on Titan, or should I keep this spoiler free?
Almost.
So I'll keep it spoiler free. So the ending, the last shot was a little underwhelming. It was more like, all right, fuck it, they're riding off on a mission or some shit. And it was really depressing knowing it was going to be a 6-month wait. And I'm sitting there talking to my buddies about what they thought of it while the ending song is playing, because we never skip the ending songs for these shows. Because we've learned from like Steins Gate, they always do dumb shit in the endings when shit's getting heavy. And of course they did it. There was some weird distortion in the ending song, and then suddenly it cuts ahead to a scene that's very clearly in the middle of the next arc. And it's got Eren on top of this roof that you may or may not recognize, and he has the lines that he has when he just exits Titan form, and he's got 2 characters on the roof, and there's like one character who should be there, and they're very explicitly missing, and one character looks at Eren covered in blood and says, "Eren, what the fuck are you doing?" And then everyone just starts fighting, and then it just ends. It cuts back to the ending song, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck did I just watch? So they went from getting me as pissed as possible to like, please, for the love of God, 6 months can't come any faster. Like, don't get me wrong, the first half season 3 of Titan has been great. I was upset with how they were handling the last episode arc transition, but it's gonna take 6 more months. They very clearly have huge production problems they need to work out. Hopefully 6 months is enough time to get the next 12 episodes off the ground.
It's funny you say that though, because I'm pretty sure the show still looks fucking gorgeous, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, the episode itself was fine. The only problem it really had is the character Eren is undergoing kind of a character transformation this arc. Between, it's not like a physical transformation, he's undergoing this whole I used to be a kid, now I'm a real adult. And starting the season, they started drawing him with a more mature look, but with this episode they kind of kept forgetting they were supposed to be doing that, and you'd have shots where he looks like he used to and shots where he has like the new more mature face to him. And it was kind of jarring when you noticed a swap, and it wasn't too free. It was maybe like 5 points where there was a transition, and there was only 2 of them that I caught. But it's a very clear sign that the directors are having conflicting direction on character designs. That's why there's so many key animators who are kind of throwing shit at each other, and that's why this is happening. So we'll see what happens. On to one that I watched today, just so I could talk about it today. This show is the weirdest fucking title. It's called Rascal Doesn't Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. And
okay, can we just fucking stop with these names? Like,
no,
yeah,
it's either
Japan.
two words, or an acronym. Just give me one or the other. Just fuck off with these.
I think it was
dumb
like
long...
Seishun Bunny or something, if you want to give it a real name. The point is, the show's very
Bunny, got it.
Yeah, the show's very interesting. So, in the same way that in the U.S. you have the character trope of like what's it called, manic pixie girl, like this really upbeat girl just shows up in a guy's life and changes everything kind of concept.
Oh,
Japan
yeah.
has a very different one. They have stoic girl with a vision. So the main character, opening scene, he's in a library, he's kind of looking at books, and this girl walks in wearing a bunny girl costume, and literally no one bats an eye that this is happening. And he walks up there, he's like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Interesting, you can still see me." And she runs away. And he's like, I know that girl. She goes to my school. She's fucking May Senpai or whatever. But the real reason he knows her is that she was a child celebrity and was on TV and stuff. And he was confused about why no one else is like reacting to her doing this stuff. And then it kind of goes on to explain that she's in a weird predicament. She's gradually becoming invisible to people. No one can see or hear her. And it's kind of this mystery. And in the world, they do delve into this kind of concept that does exist in our world, that when people are like preteen ages, they have a tendency to just make shit up. So in Japan, they have a term for that called shunibyo. And part of the show deals with the fact that some of the stuff that people were claiming was made up wasn't. So this one kid, he was attacked by some kind of weird creature that no one could see, and it really happened. But everyone thought he was making it up and thought he threw down a staircase, including himself. So he's kind of labeled as this like bad kid, this one you don't talk to. So everyone at school already ignores him. And now he's kind of lumped in this girl who's undergoing the same weird phenomenon, but no one believes her because this umbrella thing of don't deal with that shit. They're making it up for attention. So that's why she wears this bunny girl costume. But the show so far has been pretty cool. The characters are all really well animated. The voices are great. The designs are great. I looked into what studio is doing it, and it's a studio called Cloverworks, who's done fucking nothing. They've worked on like the background art for Darling and the Franxx. They did the Persona 5 anime, which wasn't well received. And I'm like, how the fuck is a studio that's done nothing good pumping out a show like this? And it turns out they're technically just a spinoff of A1 Pictures, who's actually done a lot more than just that. So they do have some, you know, directing chops going on there, but we'll see how this plans out. I'm excited about the show. Everything I've mentioned so far is the top watched shows of spring so far. So now I'm going to talk about the less watched shows of spring so far. So Fooly Cooly Alternative finished its run 2 weeks ago. I've seen the first 2 of the 6 episodes. Honestly, Alternative is way better than Progressive. I like it a lot. But the Fooly Cooly community has already said this is the worst shit to ever happen. What are they doing? And the community has finally come to terms with it. They're not sure why they like the original Fooly Cooly, and by extent, they don't know how they could possibly like any of the remix or new material. Like, they've come to the point where, like, people are starting to realize they only liked it because it was weird when they were a kid. And they're like, and the only reason it was weird when they were a kid was because Hideki Anno had all the fucking money in the universe after the Evangelion movies came out. And there's never going to be a show where the director literally just draws dumb shit and has the actors scream into the microphone for no reason for 6 episodes. It's never going to happen again. And it's never going to be as good as it was when you were 8 years old and saw it on Adult Swim at 1 a.m. That's just the fact of life. That's my controversial opinion for the week. Now, that said, I like the show a lot, and I think Haruko is the worst part of the new Fooly Cooly adaptations. She's just such a zany, out there character and doesn't fit like the stories they're trying to tell. But that's my controversial opinion. Tyler, I'm assuming you're not even going to fuck with the Fooly Cooly sequels, right?
After what you've said, I don't think I will, honestly. Like, I've heard too many conflicting things. I kind of want to check it out for shits and gigs, but I don't know. So far, like, there's already so many other shows that, like, I'm thinking of, like, pick one of those, like, pick it up whenever I do, if I have time, kind of things.
All right. So I'll just move it on here. We got a bunch of sequels coming up.
So that's it.
So
holy shit, there's so much.
It's fine. The next 5 are really fast. Most of them are jokes. So Ace Attorney, the game that no one thought would get an anime, got an anime 2 years ago. It was just okay. As an Ace Attorney fan, I watched it. It wasn't. I'd maybe put it like a 6 out of 10. It was enjoyable, and I'm not going to recommend this to someone who hasn't played the games.
I feel like I remember you talking about it and not loving it.
It wasn't that good. It was fun to relive some of the cases that I played in the games, but a lot of them were like way too fast, and just the animation was shitty in some parts. But season 2's back. They've improved the animation. They dealt with one of the problems with season 1. So season 1 adapted the first 2 games. And part of a tradition of Phoenix Wright is the first case is always a tutorial in case either you're brand new to the series or you just forgot how to play. And because one of the cases is so much of a tutorial and they couldn't figure out how to shoehorn it in, they gave Phoenix Wright amnesia for that case. They skipped over it in season 1, which made perfect sense because like there's no point in going through a case where you have to relearn how to be an attorney after 12 episodes of him learning how to be an attorney. But they brought that case back for the beginning of season 2 to ease you back into the show, and they're going to work through game 3, which is probably one of the strongest games of the series. So I'm really happy to see this animated. They're introducing the best character next week. Or actually, they already have. I'm 2 episodes behind because I've been really busy.
Yep.
But Ace Attorney 2 is here for at least 12 weeks. If you've played the games, I recommend watching it. If you haven't played the games, don't. Just buy the re-release when it comes out on Steam or whatever. Moving on, Index Season 3, the show that no one ever thought would happen, is finally happening. And I was supposed to do a mini rant a couple weeks ago, but we ran over on time, so I didn't. Index is a fucking terrible series, and I caught up with the series just to watch this season. And I can tell you right now, don't fucking do it. Index is a terrible show, and I'm going to sit through all 26 episodes of this season just to verify that, yes, Index 3 is going to be just as bad as Index 1 and 4. Just to, like, explain to you why I don't like this. Tim, you mentioned briefly about how light novels have more material, especially in regards to, like, Overlord, where there's just expands on it a little bit more.
I would assume that's how most of them
That's
are.
how
But
most
yes.
of them are. With the Index series, they couldn't hope to squeeze any of the novel into the animated adaptation, so they just didn't. They just omit key details that are super important. Like they have a whole chapter explaining why this villain is doing what they're doing and what their plan is. Instead, they had the villain appear and never explain their motivations and then just get dragged off without any telling of why they were there in the first place. And the director was like, that's a-okay, because we need to squeeze in like 3 minutes for this like bath and panty sequence that like totally needs to happen this episode. And that's the approach they're taking, to the point where I was part of it, the like coordinated Reddit rewatch, and that's the only reason I decided to watch season 2 is lead up for 3, was just that I could follow along, because the guy who's running the rewatch would post these like 8, 9, 10 page descriptions of shit they left out on a per episode basis. And it was insane. Someone could write 10 episodes about the content they didn't include in a 20-minute block. But now that says out loud, I'm pretty sure I spoke about this on the last episode. Point is, Index 3,
That's fine.
Index 3 is going to be ass. I'm going to watch it anyway. Moving on. 7 Deadly Sins Season 2. The dub in multiple languages is now finally available on Netflix, so the whole thing has been launched. I was curious how they were going to handle the naming problem, where 7 Deadly Sins had 1 season, then they had a series of 4 OVAs, which Netflix called Season 2. And now that 7 Deadly Sins Season 2 is out, I was curious what they were going to call it. And with Sword Art Online, they did Sword Art Online 1 was 2 halves, and they called that Sword Art Online Season 1, Sword Art Online Season 2. Their fix was Sword Art Online Season 2 was just called Sword Art Online 2 Season 1 and Sword Art Online 2 Season 2. So my question is, are they going to call this 7 Deadly Sins 2 Season 1? They're like, nah, fuck it. This is 7 Deadly Sins 3. So they've just digging them deeper into this hole. If 7 Deadly Sins 3 ever happens, it's going to be 7 Deadly Sins 4 on Netflix.
No, it's like, great, man. Not confusing
Final Fantasy all over again.
Oh, God.
You want to play Final Fantasy 3? Be my guest. Pick which one.
Half-Life.
Oh
fucking Half-Life 2, Episode 2, Episode 1.
Oh, my God. Anyway, the last of the shitty sequels I'm going to talk about is Tokyo Ghoul Re Season 2. So Tokyo Ghoul Re was already a piece of shit. And then when Season 2 comes out, they announced we are going to adapt the entirety of the manga into this last season. And everyone said, whoa, hold up a second. That's a lot of chapters. If you go by Naruto standards, a normal paced episode adapts 3 chapters a week. If you have a big fight, maybe 4. If you want to be slow and be fillery, you'll do 2 to 1. Tokyo Ghoul Re is going to adapt 12 to 13 chapters per episode.
Wow.
And their solution is just skip arcs at a time. This is really shitty, and I don't understand how you can keep butchering this show.
Let's call that gutsy.
I don't know. I'd go so far to just call this shitty. This is just
maybe they just want to do
making.
Less work for more money.
Well, the trick is just don't make the season. Like, if you're going to do this that bad, it costs money to make anime. If you're going to make a shitty product, it may not recoup the cost. Anime is not the most profitable thing in the world. So I don't know why they're rushing to put out such a bad adaptation for this. It's really weird. And I love coming with theories, but I literally can't figure out why. It's not that well selling. It's popular in the US, but just because an anime is popular in the US doesn't mean it makes money. So I really don't know what's driving this, and I'm very upset they're going to butcher it. In the meantime, the anime community is they really want them to adapt this 1 chapter, and no one would talk about why. So I did some digging in, and there's a sex scene in the chapter, and that's why they want them to adapt it. So chances are it's going to get skipped, because I believe the show is PG-13. But on to the last disappointment of the weeb shit this week. So I talked about it before, back when I was on my big, trigger hype session. But the show they're doing this season, SSS Gridman, is a reboot of an older, kind of robot Super Sentai kind of show. And it uses shitty 12 frame per second CG robots, and it's really shitty, and I don't like it. But the only reason anyone is watching the show is one of the female characters is thick, with 2 C's.
Hell yeah.
And the entire anime community is memeing about the fact that they are only watching the show just to see Rika's thighs. And then the director went on to an interview to say that during the initial character designs, he wrote down one thing on her character sheet. He said, make her ass big and her thighs thick. Those were his only instructions to the art team when designing this character, because he said that she is the reason people are going to watch this show. Big ass, thick thighs.
No,
he was not. This man is a visionary.
This man is a visionary.
I'm fairly certain he was involved in the Kill la Kill production. But point is,
Well, now I
That
gotta
is-
see it. Now I'm
that's-
looking.
that's the only reason
Damn,
that
she
people
got
are
some
watching SSS Good Man.
childbirthing hips. Good
Yo,
lord.
for real though. It's like that's the only reason people are
Good
watching.
lord.
That's the only reason people are watching a fucking robot reboot.
Fucking
The
thick thighs.
Thick thighs save lives. And
Yes.
that's it. And that is it for the weeb shit.
All right, well, it's been fun, everybody.
It's
Podcasting.
been fun, everybody. The weeb shit's gone way too far.
Anime was a mistake.
Anime was a fucking
I
mistake.
mean, you're not wrong, but we're just gonna move right through the weeks since it's been a hot minute. Tyler, what have you been up to, and what's coming up this week?
Well, shit. Since the last time I talked, I beat Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. So
How was
cool.
that?
I liked it. It was kind of weird. How do I describe it? My only problem with the game was that I guess a person who's like super aware of themselves or whatever during like horror stuff, like the voices that were going off, I was like, oh, you guys are more annoying than creepy, right? That was my only gripe about it. But it's still pretty cool. The puzzles do get a little bit repetitive, but the story's good. The combat's also pretty good too.
I keep seeing that on PC. Like I've seen it for years show up on Steam sales, and I've always thought about it.
If you're purely into a short story, like I would definitely, if you're thinking about getting it, I would definitely recommend getting it on sale. I don't think it's worth full price.
How long did it take you?
A little under 10 hours.
Oh, okay. That's a lot less than it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's not by any means a very long game. It's meant to be like just like a short kind of thing to do. I've been watching anime, Attack on Titan.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, so that was pretty good. I think I'm caught up on My Hero. Yes,
Oh,
yes,
finally.
I am caught up on that. And then as you guys know, I'm watching Goblin Slayer. That's really it. I haven't gotten a chance to play much video games lately, unfortunately. The only thing I've been playing is Overwatch.
Hell yeah.
I'm DMing something with my buddies. It's got like that also takes place in my world. So I'm also
the
doing
world?
that. Yeah, the world.
The world. Hell yeah.
The Terra Vigor world. It's a one shot. And it's basically they want to do like a series of one shots that like each time they have something new that's going on. So this time they're dealing with a what is called a neuromancer, and he controlled the whole city with nanomachines. Basically, it turns them into zombies.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Whoa, Kojima, hold on there.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. And since like I added a bunch of other lore in the background about like how he can't like, because like in order to really control them like to his thought will, it would have to take a lot of like brain power. So in order to help him with that, I kind of took some what's it called, inspiration from Dresden here. He controls them through music, Tim.
Ooh.
Yeah. So like
that's pretty spicy.
So throughout the entire so like I even got a soundtrack done, or found like a good like soundtrack. So like while they're walking, I play like this like really chill synthwave playlist. And then when they're in battle, I'm like, yo, let's kick it up. And then I fucking
let's break it down.
Let's break it down. And then I play like a playlist that has like a higher BPM.
Nice.
Yeah. I tried to make it super flavorful, so that's going pretty well.
Coolio.
And that's pretty much all that's going on.
Fritterman? So I'm tied up with a lot of business stuff right now. I'll let the big secret fly out. So I went down to my company's headquarters week to pitch a startup concept to them. I will know the end of next week if I'm getting funded or not, and if I am, I'm gonna have a lot of work to take care of. That said, I'm still dedicated to producing this podcast to you guys, and I'm gonna keep my Tuesday nights free. But I'm waiting on that. That was kind of why I was gone the last week. I did have some opportunity to watch some anime, which obviously you heard about this week. On top of that, I was able to play a little bit more Octopath Traveler, and I finally got to the part that makes this game interesting. So, Tyler, I don't know if you knew this because I didn't learn this until playing through. But every character can have one of the 8 classes as a subclass. So there's now this huge mix and match element to it, where you can have your party where everyone has 2 classes. On top of that, you know the whole sub skill, or not the whole skill system, where as you learn more skills, you learn more like bonus shit you can equip. You have like 4 sub skills. You can use the sub skills of classes you don't have equipped right now. So the idea is there's a lot more build diversity to each character to figure out, like, what combo do you want, and then what support skills go along with it. So the game just took a huge step up in terms of mechanical depth. But going through the story right now, it's still like the same level shit in the level 2 stories as it was in level 1. I'm having fun with it. The question is how much more time I have to throw at this game. It's definitely a lot of fun. But someone pointed out recently, we are now 100 days from Kingdom Hearts 3, which means I absolutely have to beat. I have to beat Dream Drop distance before it gets delayed again. Is what I'm trying to say. But for real though, I need to set aside some time to beat Dream Drop distance for this game.
Freeman, you have like 40 days until the next delay.
Well, all I know is I got some vacation days saved up, so in December I'm gonna lock myself in a room and force myself to beat that shitty fucking game in time for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Nice.
What am I doing this week? We're finally playing D&D again after our extended hiatus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's been some Jones and Ford.
Thanks to me.
You're not wrong.
Shit.
I'm being
also, though, Leslie fell asleep on Sunday when she promised Val that we'd do a side session. So.
Oh, you guys, I was gonna say I wasn't
That
even
was
back
on
till like
her,
10:30.
too.
I forgot, fam. One more thing.
I didn't say.
Red
Is
Dead.
your name Leslie?
No, he
Red
forgot
Dead
something about his week.
Redemption. Red Dead
Oh,
Redemption
shit.
2.
Yeah.
Wait, is that out this
Oh
week?
my god, yes,
Yeah.
Friday.
Ooh. All right, we know what you're doing
fucking
this weekend.
hype as fuck.
Yeah. Bye, Tyler.
Goodbye. Goodbye, listeners. Goodbye.
I gotta figure out what to do with that one cowboy meme. I gotta post it. Anyway.
It's high noon, man. It's fucking high noon.
No, it was more like Brokeback Mountain, but whatever. Anyway.
Wow.
No, I mean the meme I found, not Red Dead Redemption.
It was pretty good timing.
But I completely lost my train of thought. I said
I'm so sorry.
Distance. We're playing D&D. I think there's a Halloween party this weekend that may or may not be happening. Sift through the fucking group discussion now while I'm talking on this podcast. But I don't know. Everything is up in the air. I like this. Fall's my favorite season. We got good anime. We got good games. We got fucking business decisions in the air. I love this. That's my week.
Yeah.
Tim, what do we got going on out in Ohio?
Past few weeks. Oh man, I'm trying to even think. I've just been really. Oh jeez.
Oh jeez.
Oh jeez. I see the fucking thing. Past few weeks have been pretty slow without anime or any. I meant without D&D and podcast.
Y'all dead.
Oh my god.
It's pretty much just been us hanging out. We watched through Overlord, like I said, and then started up the Tutors, which is a much longer show. Those are 40-minute episodes, and we're on season 2, so that takes a while. Honestly, not much. I haven't played Yakuza in a while. I did a little bit more recording of that. I finished Darksiders. The LP is currently chugging out. It's only 19 parts, so it's not too long. But Darksiders 1, man, I forgot that I really enjoyed that game, actually.
It's a good game.
It's not that... It's actually funny. I feel like as time is going on, more and more people are saying they really like the second game. I plan on playing the second game again in the future, but man, I really feel like I actually remember definitely preferring the first game more. So we'll see if maybe I'd turn around on it now that I'm a little older and playing it. But Darksiders 3 comes out in the near future. I think it's in like a month. I'm definitely not buying it day one. That game is definitely going to have patches and DLC, so there's no way I'm rushing to buy it. They also
the year edition.
Oh, Dude, I was just about to say, there are literally 6 special editions. It's just like fucking Assassin's Creed
Oh my
Odyssey.
God.
They have like 6 tiers of fucking special editions. It's the stupidest thing ever.
It's amazing.
It really kind of turns me off the game. So I'm hoping. I've heard some of the previews said it's more like the first game, so I'm a little hopeful. But either way, it's not happening for a while. But now that that's done, I need something else because I've been really not into grinding in Yakuza right now. Because so last week and this week I'm working 50-hour weeks because my boss told me to. And that's the only reason. Quote unquote, only if you have work though, which means I'm already pretending to have work on normal business hours. I might as well pretend to have work for overtime hours.
Oh my
God. Yeah, that means I don't have as much time for grinding and stuff. And I also recently hit a major chapter switch where I switched characters in Yakuza. And it basically means I'm resetted to have to doing a whole giant fuck ton of grinding again. And I'm like, man, I don't feel like digging into this yet. But I actually, earlier this week, I guess I'll spoil this, the second Deus Ex game, the new one, Mankind Divided, was actually on sale for $5 on Steam yesterday. So, and it was $8 for the version with all the DLC. So, I've been meaning to play that one for a while. I know it's not supposed to be as good as a Human Revolution, but I'm kind of interested to see what the new Deus Ex game has to offer. So, that's probably going to be the next LP after Darksiders 1 ends for you guys. I'll probably start recording that this weekend. Coming up. Oh, also, actually, some really cool stuff that happened to me. I almost forgot. So, I know I mentioned a while ago that I met a few cool people at this new store I've been going to for Commander on Saturdays. But actually, 2 weekends ago, I suddenly ran into like 6 people from the old store.
Oh, cool.
That just all stumbled in at the same time, and a bunch of them were actually guys that I really looked forward to. Even I know, Freeman, I've at least mentioned to you the guy who bought like $100 cards and boxes and stuff from the old store.
Yep.
And always had really cool commander decks. He just walked in, like him, his friend, and then another group of 2 guys who I totally remembered from the store wandered in. And they all said that they're going to try to start making it to Saturdays, and I saw a bunch of them. I saw 2 of them and one other guy from the old store again this past Saturday. So I'm really excited to be going to the store for Commander now. It sucks to drive 40 minutes instead of 5 minutes, but it's made Saturdays a lot of fun. I had a really good time these past 2 weeks. I've played some really fun games of Commander, so that's been really cool.
That was good.
Nice.
Carving pumpkins for Halloween tomorrow.
Got any
Bought
ideas
some
for
pumpkins.
designs?
I was just gonna do dumb face, but Val
Dumb
said
face.
it's not that hard to do something cool, so maybe I'll try to draw like sketch out with like a marker and is it outline, because the is it symbol is not that tough. Print that out or something, print out like a hard line version and just sketch it on and try to cut it. I don't know. We'll see. Got to do it tomorrow because apparently in our town, Saturday is trick-or-treating day.
What the fuck?
So it's because Halloween's on a fucking Wednesday. So instead of having kids wander around on a Wednesday, apparently also, if you think about it out here, like in New Jersey, everyone's so close together, so kids don't really have to travel for Halloween.
Dumb.
You know what I mean? Like you just go outside and you walk around.
Dumb.
Around here, if you're not directly in the center of town, you could easily not have neighbors like right next door. So I'm apparently Val said at work, all her coworkers were talking about how like kids always like the towns announce what day that they're gonna do trick-or-treating.
Interesting.
So
everyone's trending more towards that.
I'm sure there'll be more. Plus Saturday's just an easier day to watch the kids. Like I said, if you're not at work, not at school,
They're
the
dumb.
kids can go out earlier and be back earlier.
They're dumb.
Anyway,
That's stupid.
yeah.
okay.
So upcoming week is just going to be watching Tutors. Maybe we'll start one of these fucking animes. I don't know.
Yes.
Um,
Do the slime
Darksiders
show.
and Yakuza are still coming out. I'm gonna try to finally work. I actually wrote some of a script while I was at work last week, and I have some really funny ideas. I'm gonna try to make a semi-serious, semi-funny video. But I have to actually have time to record it and everything. And tomorrow's Pumpkins because that's the only time beforehand, and then D&D is Thursday, and then Friday pizza and movies, and Saturday's Commander. So who knows when the fuck I'm gonna get around to it, but I will soon. But yeah, that's about it. So we're gonna finally end it here, just a shy of 2 hours.
Starting to become the usual.
Yeah. Well, hopefully next week we'll have less news because we will not be missing so many weeks in a row.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of putting
Fingers
4
crossed that
weeks
we
worth of
actually
weeb shit
do
at
it
once.
next week. Yeah. So fingers crossed that we actually do the podcast 2 weeks in a row. But yeah, I think that's it. So from the crew, hopefully it won't be too long until you hear from us again. But until next time, my name is Timpedia.
I'm Friedman.
I'm just Tyler.
And we will catch you guys hopefully next week. See you then.